Hey and welcome back. Welcome back here to the Academy of Witchwood. The clock shows 4:30 currently at this beautiful day here, and I was thinking about what to do next here on my campus. We do have a new building, which is pretty empty at the moment, and the question is, what do we fill it with? And I think, looking at our quest book, we have a few options. First of all, we can go further into the dark arts and work towards our sextupling, which contains a lot of occultism, which is a good way to get more out of our ores. And along the way, we could also get ourselves a dimensional mineshaft to produce ores just automatically. We could also get into building a Hephaestus forge, but I don't see a good reason to do that right now. We could go and bottle some more mobs or build an arena. We could also go for Technomancy and start with a runic workshop. Or fun mechanical elements, if we don't count our clock, which currently is not fun enough for me. We will also have to build a playable wizard chess game and construct a train line, but these will come later. So yeah, many things, many options. But I think the first two things I want to start with is, for once, to get rid of this particle stream here, because I really don't think it's very nice to look at. And the other is to build a new storage system. Currently, we're still using the storage we had from the very beginning here in our starter hut. I did expand all of these chests to diamond level in the meantime, but if we take a look, things are quite full. And that is pretty much everywhere. So a new storage system has to come at some point. I think I will reuse the storage lectern, but maybe not in this room here, but to build a new one. So these are the first two things, and to get rid of all these particles, we really can just use ender source jars to move source through the dimension without worrying about relays. So let me craft up 2, 3, 4 of those, and I will replace some of the relay lines I have running with the source jars so I can distribute this a lot easier. Let's get a few ender source jars. And the principle stays the same. I automated this, at least for the production, completely, so we can just sit here and wait while our Starbuncle collects the finished products. And ender source jars, if they render incorrectly, will share the source between each other. So we can, for example, keep one actually in here. We might need source for some for some processes. So let's go up actually. Oh no, let's go. Yeah, let's go up. We will substitute a few source jars that we have up here with the ender variants. And if everything worked out as I expect, this one should be filled now. Exactly. So this one source jar will be filled wherever it is because it is directly set at the source. And with that, our clock now runs of an ender source jar instead of a normal one. And we don't have the particle effects running everywhere. So we can use these ender source jars wherever we want to just, well, have 100% full source jar available. But we should also make sure that they actually stay full all the time. Now, let's talk storage. We do have pretty much 3 options available to us right now. The first one is the storage lectern that we've been using so far. The storage lectern is a very powerful option, and we do have the stabilized warp index to access the lectern from anywhere in the world. With occultism you have the dimensional crystal matrix, which is used to create the dimensional storage actuator, which is also a 1-block storage system, which is really useful actually, and there's even a quest for that. But currently, especially because I do have the warp index, I don't think there's a big use to use that. The third option is to work with create. And in here we have the stock link and the stock ticker, which is not too expensive. I could quite easily go ahead and set up the system, and it's really powerful as soon as we take a look at automation. But for the moment, I don't need automation, I just need a big storage, and we can always update the storage that we have for automation purposes in the future. So let me just set up a new building. Or should I use this one here behind me? No, I would say I set up a new building. Maybe over here somewhere, overlooking the ocean where our storage is housed. That way, well, no storage shortages anymore. Let's hop right in. All right. I decided for a relatively small building over here. I'm going to extend the land a little bit to, well, have a groundwork to build on. I decided for a little tower over on the side, maybe for some potions or potion reagents. That might be nice. And other than that, this is going to be a little bit taller than it is wide. So I'm looking for a relatively high ground floor, a second floor, and then the roof. And I'm going for the same roof style as I have over here. So this is going to get relatively steep. I, first of all, need a whole variety of ancient stone again. Probably the same ones I have over here. So some polished, some stone bricks, some cracked stone bricks. To keep the style similar. I think a 7-block high base should leave us enough room for down below. Then we will have some sort, let me check, do I have some, I do have some copycat slabs that works out. Some kind of border. And above that, I think going for another, maybe 5 blocks. Until we get to the roof. Alright. I will build up the walls and frame out the roof, and yep, then let's get this built up. And here we do have a first base frame. I think it starts looking, well, quite okay. Of course, there's like a tons of details and most of the roof missing, but it goes into the right direction. Let's take a look about windows. I think we don't need any windows in the basement floor, because this will be mostly storage room, but I do want some windows in the upper levels. And I think maybe 3 windows. Can I punch in 3 here at the front without messing everything up? Yeah, I think that looks quite okay, quite nice. That should work. And let's continue maybe with 2 windows per side. 1 here, 1 over here. And we will mirror that at the other side. That should then somewhere be here. And if I align myself real quick, about there. Here the back will be fully walled, and we will have a big window here on top again, similar maybe to this one. And here we go. We do now have a small little, or a quite a bit larger little house here for our storage. I tried to decorate it a little bit, and I created a mason table to get these fortified spruce doors. And I went with the dramatic doors to get them 3 high. So we do have quite a bit of space in here to, well, get storage in. And this is what I want to do. There will be either a staircase or another elevator going up to the second level. I don't know what I will do with this yet. I could use it for some create setups, create a small workshop up there if I don't want to get the workshop over there in the clock tower, which will probably be the case. But I didn't decide on that yet. So I will set up some storage in here. Now the question is, what kind of storage do I go for? Probably the sophisticated ones. They're just, well, the easiest option. And I might go ahead and filter things out so that if the storage overfills, I have some void upgrades in the works so that I can, well, get rid of unwanted things. Let me figure out exactly how I want to set this up here, and I'll be right back. All right, let's take a look inside. I did set up a few shelves with a lot of chests in here. As you can see, that's a whole lot of storage. Each of these chests is upgraded to the diamond level, and all the chests here on the right do have an advanced filter upgrade. So I can define what goes in here and what doesn't. The chests on the left, well, they don't. So left will be my general bulk storage, everything that doesn't fit into the right side. On the right side, we will have everything pretty much sorted. So let's close the doors. How does it work with the storage lectern? First of all, everything here on the right side is connected. How so? With these storage connectors here in the back. They're linking these lines together. They're going underground in between each line until the very end. And they come over here to this storage controller. So this storage controller is here for the for the right side, and this here is for the left one. Currently everything is empty, and I did set a few filters already. For example, this chest will be for all my food stuff. All the delight stuff from all the different delight variants I have here. This chest here up above is for all the Ars Nouveau stuff and so on. So if I go ahead and I created another storage lectern and put this here, add a bookworm charm. Now I don't have any connected inventories, which is fine. I can just use the Dominion wand, and now it's important to follow the right order. The first inventory connected to the storage lectern will always have priority. So if I connect this storage controller first, this bookworm will try to sort everything it can into all of these chests here. Every chest, even if nothing is set to an allow filter, so nothing goes in here without being allowed to do so. And yeah, if I now try, for example, to put in, do I have anything that is not filtered? This one, for example. I can't put my Hellraiser in here because it has nowhere to go. If I, for example, take my Archmage spellbook, it goes in directly because it will end up in this chest because it's Ars Nouveau. So now we can add the second inventory here. My bookworm, you're not looking too good. I already have that spellbook in my hand again. Now the second side is connected, and now I can put in whatever I want because these things will now go here on the left. And well, with this I can set up all the filters for everything that I want to have filtered in here. And I can also use these filters to limit amounts of inventories for specific things, for example by using void upgrades in addition. And I'll probably go ahead and figure out a few things that I have on bulk currently, which I don't want to have any more than like 1,000, which I can just increase the stack size and then delete everything that goes over one stack. Which I think is a nice way to limit overflow that we might produce in some factory scenarios. But for now, let me go ahead and filter the one side and then move all my items over. And that might take a while and will be very boring to look at, so I'll see you guys in just a moment when it's all done. It has been a good few minutes, but all my storage is now over here. I have chests upon chests upon chests of stuff, and you can see, for example, my ingot selection is actually, well, quite manageable with like 24 iron ingots. Of course, I do also have some blocks, at least 2 blocks of iron. I really need to work on my ingots and metals overall. I figured I do have quite a few unstackable items, especially, where are they? A bunch of scrolls. I really need to figure out what to do with all these scrolls. I probably will turn them down into ink. Then again, I think I do have 180 legendary ink lying around. Maybe I will just void them. I don't know yet. But I'll need to find a way before the rest of the chests fill up. But that will be a problem for future me. For now, my one bookworm is more than enough to keep everything stocked up. I also went ahead and if I quickly run over here, ooh, it's laggy. And cleaned up this place here, so I do have a bit of my workshop setup here left, but I'll also get rid of that. Don't really need any of that anymore. Maybe the salvaging table, the cutters and the saw, and my smithing table, but yeah. I am thinking about what to do with this room. It's not so big that I would set up a whole living space in here, but maybe a kitchen with a nice place to sit around would be a nice addition to my study up above. Oh, by the way, if you were wondering where Fred and Fluffy went, they're here in the dry and the warm. So, yeah. I think that's a good place to start for today. Let's clean this up and, well, make it a little bit more cozy. And a few bits and pieces here. Ah, that looks a lot more cozy than before. I'm just going around and trying to figure out a few good places to, well, put stuff. And I think a salvaging table does fit nicely here back in the kitchen. Maybe with a herb jar on it. With some mandrake root. And with that, hey, I think that looks not too shabby. I do have a couch. I do have a table with some chairs. Oh, that's actually bench. Do I have smaller chairs? Yeah, those are not as gigantic as the other ones. I think that looks quite nice. And with this, I do have a small kitchen. Hooray! All right. I do have a kitchen. I do have a new storage room. And we still haven't figured out what to do with all the room up there. I think the last thing I want to do today is, first of all, get in the elevators in both of these towers. So one in here, so we can get to the upper layer, where I do not have any light. Maybe I should add some light. And one over in our clock tower. Same as over there. Here will be an elevator going up. And here as well, seemingly I don't have any light, but a bunch of blood on the floor. So, what is needed for these elevators? Elevators with Create are actually very simple to do. The only thing you need is an elevator pulley, which, well, just needs some dried kelp. I can do that. And we should have everything else. So, let me quickly open the Ponder menu. What an elevator can do is to just connect to whatever you build as an elevator. The only thing it has to do is to have two matching redstone contacts to define the location of a floor. When you have the elevator powered, you can just combine all of this into an elevator itself. And, well, then that works. Every redstone contact here will be a new floor. And yeah, the elevator will just react to redstone signals you send to these contracts or to whatever floor you define here. So yeah, actually not that difficult. By the way, I love these ponder menus. They make explanations so much easier. So what we need to do is to, first of all, get one of these up here. Second of all, give it power. So we are going for like maybe 69 speed. And I don't think I need a lot of stress. I can scroll this down. Let's go for 20%. And I can just place my source jar up here and the motor is spinning. The stress capacity is currently 4,800. I need 380. So let's get this down a lot further. This is still too much. 2%. 1% is not enough, so let's go for 2. Okay. This will be powered up here. Everything else is, well, not the problem here. Then I can select where my redstone contacts go. I will put them there and here. And in here, I can just clear out a bit of space to house the elevator itself. So redstone contacts are cheap as hell. Let's get a bunch of those. Let's place one here and one here for the moment. I can already place one in here. And I will put them on the floor level of the elevator, not a block above. I don't need it a block above. That should be fine as it is. And now, well, let's build the rest of it. Maybe some copycat vertical steps. Calcite might look nice. So something like that should work out fine. Let's glue it together. And then we just need, here, contraption controls. We need 2 of those as well, but let's start with 1. Let me put this over here. And now we can just go up here and connect the elevator. And if everything is working... Oh, I forgot to connect the contraption controls. That's why they don't work. Now they do. Now you can just go in here, select one, and drive up to the next floor. Isn't that neat? And from here on, just select 0 and go down again. I can just finish up the edge here. From now on, the only way up is through an elevator. Woohoo! And now I can do exactly the same over there. See you in just a second. And here we have it. Here we have our elevator in the clock tower. I started laying out some more stone tiles. I will probably cover the whole area here with those. But for the moment, I went ahead and created an elevator with a total of 4 levels. So level 1 is this area here, where we have our temporary deployer set up. Level 2 will guide us to the first room, level 3 into the second, where a creeper is living, and level 4 in the end is the clockwork tower. I rerouted the power of the source motor that is up here into 2 shafts. One is going into the clockwork bearing, and to be honest, these corner shafts from Petrol Parts, they're awesome. I love them. And the other one is going over here to the elevator pulley, which I could have set up like a little bit differently and not use a corner shaft, but whatever. This source motor is, funnily enough, consuming 8 source as well, so we're really talking the same amount of source here as for the small elevator on the other side. But yeah, now we can go up and down all the pulleys. And I think with this, we have a good point of wrapping up this episode. Next episode, I promise we will get a little bit into Create and finally build a workshop so that we can go through the amounts and amounts of ores that I collected with the crossbow and finally turn them into ingots. So keep well until then. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you soon enough, and until then, take care and have a great evening, have a great day. I'm porting around now, so yeah, don't worry about me. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye bye.